Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, July the 22nd, race number 9 at Saratoga. 3-year-old filly is going a mile on the inner turf for the Grade 3 Lake George. $175,000 is the purse. Let's take a look at this field.
Want to view free Formulator past performances for this race? Head to the Race of the Day page at DRF.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel and bet this card with DRF Bets.
And the QR code for Race of the Day access on your mobile devices. No surprise that Chad Brown has a very prominent uncoupled entry in here. He's got the 2 morning line favorites. Eminent Victor, a stakes winner. Dolce Zel, a graded stakes winner.
Yeah, they both have pretty big chances in here, Dan. They're the 2 shortest prices, I think, for a reason. They both have some recency in here. They've both run really, really well, basically, in all of their starts. Chad Brown just, tends to have these horses ready to go in races like this.
But they're far from the only horses in this race. You've got a horse down on the rail, Republique, trying turf for the first time, who has some pedigree. Koala Princess, the 4, showed some ability as a 2-year-old. A couple of others. We'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector. I had a tricky time figuring out who's going to be on the lead. Timeform US settled on Republique. I guess Qahira could be up front. I think the 7 sister Luanne's got to be forwardly placed.
Yeah, I think that's Sister Luanne's running style anyway. The only reason I think the pace projector doesn't have her up there is because so far anyway, she's just been in a bunch of slow-paced races, and that's all that pace projector can build off of. She'll probably go forward here. Republique, though, she's got a great post towards the inside, and she's not slow, so she should at least fall into a good trip up close.
Republique made her first 2 starts on the Tapeta surface down at Gulfstream Park for trainer Safi Joseph. Let's watch start number 2. She won both of those races, including this first level allowance going 1 mile and 70 yards, stretching out from 5.5 to 1 mile and 70. She showed good tactical speed, made the front, and was able to hold them all off. She is a half sister to Preakness winner Ram Bauer, who certainly could step on the turf. And last time out, she was kind of put in a tough spot in the Grade 3 Delaware Oaks for her dirt debut.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy spot. So I guess she could certainly rate to have the benefit of the doubt for that run. Dan, she didn't run well in that race at all. So we'll see. Maybe it was just a little too tough and maybe too much too soon. It's not like her connections are regrouping here, though. They're going to come right back at another graded stakes race on another different surface for her and see how she handles it. I think she has some talent. I liked her first 2 starts. I just really couldn't find much of a reason to like her in here.
Heavenly Hellos is the number 2, 30-1 on the morning line for a filly that just pulled off a huge upset in the Horseshoe Indianapolis Stakes. Paid $74 that day. Might have been a little bit lucky. She got the trip. A couple of others didn't have such an easy journey.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about her. They had tried a couple of stakes prior to that against good horses on one on synthetic, then one on dirt. She was nowhere. She obviously came back and ran a lot better last time. She did get a good trip overall. But she was 3 right around the racetrack. She always looked like she was going to be tough in that race, and she was tough in that race. Stayed on, very gamely, late to prevail as the longest shot on the board. I don't know. This looks like a much, much tougher race to me, but I thought she ran fine last time.
She'll race with Lasix off here. Maybe she'll appreciate a little bit of give in the ground. There is some forecast for rain at Saratoga this week. We'll see if Heavenly Hellos can back up that last race against slightly tougher company. Qahira is up next, and this filly seems to be improving for trainer Bill Mott. She's run 3 times on turf. She's got 3 top 2 finishes, including a graduation day last time out at Churchill Downs. Jose Ortiz gave her the right trip, got her right up close to a moderate pace. She was able to sprint on home against a weaker field.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. I thought she ran fine in there with an absolute perfect trip going a little bit longer. Her prior 2 turf starts, though, they're both pretty good too, Dan. I didn't really find much to knock about her. She has really good tactical speed. The turf start in February where she was, just chasing Spenderella around the track. She was just never going to win that race. But she ran fine in there. The cutback to a mile feels like it's not a problem for her. She's 12-1 on the line, which feels like a good price. There's a lot of pedigree here. There's just a lot to like about her at a price. We'll see if she can up her game a little bit because I think she's going to have to.
Based on her first 2 lifetime starts, sprint victories on the turf, the 4 Koala Princess was made the betting favorite for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf going a mile, and she just sort of ran evenly that day behind a fast pace. She has been given plenty of time since that effort by trainer Arnaud Delacour. She reportedly got sick, missed a little bit of time, but she showed some quality last year. It's all about, will she be ready to fire off the layoff, and is 2 turns going to be her game? I think it'll be okay for her.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, even if you just want to base it off the Breeders' Cup, where she wound up seventh, I thought she ran fine in that race. Never got near the rail in there. She never looked like she was going to win, but she was racing on right to the end of that race. She ran fine in that spot at a pretty terrible price though, as the favorite. I liked her first 2 starts quite a bit. I think she has some talent, to come off the layoff in a race like this and to have to face the 2 Chad Brown horses. I guess that's not easy. I still think there's a chance that Koala Princess turns out to be pretty good, though.
The 5 Dolce Zel makes a lot of sense. She won the Grade 3 Florida Oaks in her North American debut. She ran just fine behind odds-on Spenderella, who acquitted herself very, very well overseas at Royal Ascot over this summer. And last time out in the Edgewood, she ran at Churchill Downs over that course that just had a lot of problems. The runner-up in that race came right back to run second in the regret with an 88, then won the Belmont Oaks with a 92. So she's faced top horses. She has good tactical speed. Again, lots to like.
Yeah, and she had a pretty big excuse in the Edgewood last time too, Dan. I mean, the winner of that race was really good. So maybe she just wasn't going to win anyway, but this horse was always down on the inside where it felt like you probably didn't want to be. And then she got blocked in the upper stretch as the 1-2 finishers were rallying out in the clear. By the time she got herself free of the traffic, the race was over, and Irad just really didn't use her that hard. He just let her be third in that race. I don't know. She's run well in all 3 of her starts. She's going to be tough in here.
Eminent Victor, the number 6, is a daughter of Mr. Z that pulled off an almost 40-1 upset in her career debut at Arlington Park, going 5 ace on the synth. Well, Chad Brown took notice because after that race, it appears this filly was privately purchased, sent to Chad, immediately got a Grade 1 placing up in Canada in the Natalma, and then off the long layoff, she found a good spot in the Wild Applause last time. Only a 4-horse field. She was able to sit just off a pretty solid pace duel. She splits horses in the stretch, but I like the way she finished it up. Lots of upside here.
Yeah, I like this performance from her. It's a short field. She did sit a nice trip in this race, but that horse to her outside, a stablemate of hers who was in pretty good form, took a pretty big run at her, and Eminent Victor is never letting that horse get by. This is a good performance. I thought her Natalma was also a really good performance, third behind a couple of real nice fillies that day. And I just sort of like that they're not, her connections anyway, they're going to sort of resist the temptation to stretch her all the way out, Dan. Going to keep her at a mile and run her in this race. Man, I think she's going to be a handful for this field.
The 7th sister, Luanne, likely to be forwardly placed, coming up for Safi Joseph, who also, of course, has the 1 Republique. She won his little stake at Gulfstream last time out. Let's watch that one. The Mark of Washington. This is her first start of the year, her first start off a 6-month layoff. She showed good early speed in this race. This wasn't the strongest field, but I like the way she did it. She was able to equal the Beyer top from last year. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes a little bit of a forward move. She's going to have to. This is a much tougher group.
Yeah, I agree. I like the intangibles with this filly. I like her pedigree. I like that she's basically run well in all of her starts. I like that she paired up her top figure from last year in her first start off the layoff. I like all those things about her. But I don't think that you could really like her against this field based on anything that she's done so far. Her 2 wins just came when she was absolutely loose on really slow paces, and this race is just going to be run a little bit differently, Dan. I do think there's a chance that she's okay, but this is a really tough spot. I think she's just hard to make a really convincing case for just based on what she's done in her first 4 starts.
I'm a big fan of the 8 Skims, of daughter of Frankel, going out for trainer Shug McGahee. This horse ran third in the Appalachian 2 starts back at Keeneland. Kind of got bounced around at the start and lost forward position, then ended up finishing third behind the 2 favorites, Dolce Zel running second. Last time out, she ran arguably in a tougher spot, the Wonder again. Let's watch that race. Belmont got a lot closer to the pace. The pace was very reasonable. She's in between horses right now. She just can't go with consumer spending. Come back to run third in the Belmont Oaks, a Grade 1 with an 89.
Yeah, no match for the really good winner here. She's also really no match for this horse who's going to come get her for second. All in all, she ran fine. It's a 9-furlong race, then. Maybe it's just a little bit too far for Skims. Her prior races, I thought, were all good, including the Appalachian. I don't think she ran as well as Dolce Zel did in the Appalachian, but she ran fine in that race. And it feels like she's just getting better with every start.
And really, the X factor in this race is drawn to the far outside, taking a big step up off an entry level allowance win. That's the 9 Spirit and Glory, who is making her turf debut, her North American debut, in her first start for a very good young trainer. She was dismissed at a big price. Like many European horses, she broke slow. The fractions speak for themselves, very slow, and she's gone home. Look at Spirit and Glory, who's last turning into the stretch, gets to the far outside. Dylan Davis clucks to her, and she's going to outfinish everybody.
Yeah, this is a big finish she puts in down the outside. As you mentioned, the pace wasn't fast. You will note, though, Dan, that the horse in the pink cap there, the 7, is going to get totally blocked in the stretch of this race. I don't know. I still feel like this filly ran really well, and I don't want to take anything away from her. It was her turf debut. She overcame a lot to win it. Really impressive performance. Now she's drawn outside against a way tougher field. Listen, I'm not going to knock her. She's going to be a good price once again. I kind of want to see her run as well right back in this race.
Before we get to our top selections for the Friday race of the day, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time for the Lake George. Spirit and Glory is going to be a good price again. She's likely not going to break very well, so she's going to need some pace and a little bit of racing luck. I'm just curious to see if she can do it again at around that 8-1 morning line. Eminent Victor, your top selection, I want to use as well. I think she's got a lot of upside potential and way more tactical speed than I picked.
Yeah, I liked all those things about her. I just thought it was a good spot for her. Then I, gave a long consideration to putting Koala Princess on top because I'm a fan of hers and I think she'll run well off the layoff. But I sort of stuck with the more logical Eminent Victor.
Wide open race. You got 2 Chad Brown horses in here figuring to take some money. Koala Princess off the layoff, the well-bred Republique from the rail, and the up-and-coming Spirit and Glory, as well as a Bill Mott train runner. Nice race. The Lake George, your Friday race of the day at the Spa. Good luck.